What's the weird thing going on with your body that isn't weird enough to go to the doctor for? I get these funny little twitches in my right butt cheek. They last for a solid minute or more, and kinda tickle. Sounds like a pain in the arse. That is clearly butt cheek cancer. Try incorporating more magnesium into your diet or take a magnesium supplement. Helps with muscle spasms. I get something similar, except they happen all over my body in different places. It's always a small area of skin that's affected, maybe the diameter of a ping pong ball. But it can happen on my butt, my bicep, the back of my neck, on the side of my thigh, on my pectoral, on my forearm, seemingly anywhere, and for no apparent reason. It doesn't happen all the time, it just randomly happens one day, lasts for about 1 to 2 minutes, and then goes away again. It's called benign fasciculation syndrome. You can try cutting down caffeine. Think I would rather have disco cheeks than give up coffee. When I really need to pee, it makes my teeth feel funny. OMG, me too. I thought it was normal, but I mentioned it to my partner, like, can we find a rest stop? I need to pee so bad my teeth hurt. And they were like, the fuck are you talking about? Apparently, not everyone gets this. Haha. I just looked it up, and apparently the vagus nerve, which plays a role in bladder control, has nerves that branch off and connect back to the jaw area, and in cases of extreme urgency it can begin to misfire and send signals back to that area. Neat lol. Incidentally, I also just learned that there is a direct nerve connection between a woman's upper lip and her clitoris. That's even neater. LOL. My eyes get watery when I pee. Not because I'm in pain or anything, it's just like I'm leaking from different orifices. My stomach makes a lot of noise. No pain, normal amount of gas, I'd say. But it almost constantly growls or gurgles, even when I'm not hungry. My stomach did this all the time, then I found out it was due to food intolerances. My mum has Crohn's disease, and you can hear her stomach from 6 feet away sometimes. She says, just saying hi. Weird but mostly harmless. If I am startled awake by anything, I am extremely nauseated for about 30 minutes afterward. If I wake up from my alarm, this does not happen. Some people have said they don't get why the alarm doesn't cause this, and I think it's just my body knowing, expecting to be awakened at this time, so it's not startling me as much as, say, someone barging in the room. Same, that's why I cannot for the life of me take any naps during the day. If I wake up from a nap, I'll be nauseous and disoriented for a good half hour after waking up. Sometimes I get a twitch in my stomach that feels like what my kid felt like kicking. I am not pregnant. I haven't been pregnant for almost 5 years now. It is probably gas, but it freaks me out every time cause like OHNO, am I pregnant lol. This one is weird because when I was actually pregnant and felt movement, it really felt like nothing I'd ever experienced before, and I could easily tell if it was the baby versus gas or whatever. So why do I now get those little phantom flutters that feel like a baby? I absolutely do not want to be pregnant again, but at the same time I do remember those little kicks fondly, so it's kind of a mixed bag of emotions when it happens lol. I have one big hiccup a couple times a day. Just the one hiccup though, never more. That's often a symptom of acid reflux. Some people don't feel the burning, they only get the hiccups. Might be worth trying an OTC acid reducer. You know how sometimes if you squeeze pimples' blackheads out comes a tiny hard white yellowish stone, the thing that was blocking the pore? Well, my body recently produced 2 tiny, shiny, smooth 1 mm big pinkish pearls. It looked 100% like a super miniature pearl. Guess I am turning into an oyster. My husband had this little bump on his shoulder that looked like a small pimple until 2 years later this thing is still there, but not, it's turned into a big ass lump. And I mean big. Looked like he had a ping pong ball lodged in his shoulder, and one night I was like, we have to see if we can lance that thing cause it's just so wired and kinda gross looking. So, OMG, there was literally a geyser spewing up to the ceiling and out all different directions. It was so FD up and so gross. And the god-awful smell after that shit just staying there stuck for 2 years. You can't even begin to imagine that nastiness lol. I've got a small blackhead kinda thing on my stomach. Very unnoticeable. I think I only know it's there because my fingers brush over it. No matter how often I squeeze it and empty it out, it always refills. Like a few weeks, months later I'll notice it again and have to go digging. It's so annoying. I had sinus surgery a year ago. Best decision ever. Opened up my sinuses and I can breathe better than I have in decades. Has majorly cut my instances of sinus infections and other nasal issues. I'll always have some issues, but they're so much easier to deal with. But my super fun new symptom is that sometimes when I tip my head, water runs out of my nose. It is not a CSF leak as I have no other symptoms, and it's not frequent enough. It's just a byproduct of chronic rhinitis, watery discharge finally being able to leave my sinuses versus staying trapped until it becomes infection. Still, it's rather gross to suddenly have a bunch of water just bloop out my nose if I tip my head. Wow. I had sinus surgery 3 days ago. I noticed a major difference within a day. I had no idea how bad I felt before compared to now. I slept through the night and woke up absolutely full of energy. I haven't felt this great since my 20s. My hands and feet are completely unable to keep warm by themselves even when inside. In warmer climates it's not a problem, but from late autumn to early spring my hands will get inexplicably cold to the point of people telling me that my hands are even colder than the room. I've heard a few times that it could be a blood pressure thing, but it doesn't seem big enough to go to the doctor with. You know that intense fear of death, dying you sometimes randomly get? For me, it's a sign I have to defecate. The second it's out of me, I feel instantly better normal. Man, that sounds like some killer shit. I build up loads of static charge, much to the amusement of my friends and colleagues. Doesn't matter where I am, what I eat or drink, or where etc. I get like 20 static shocks a day and just need to deal with it. Keep a dryer sheet in your pocket and rub it now and then to discharge the static. I do this in the winter when the humidity is low and it prevents shocks. If I scratch my foot in a certain place, I feel it on my torso as well. I have nerve confusion as well. There's a few places on my body where I can touch or scratch and I'll be reminded of it somewhere else on my body. A few times a day I get this weird sensation like someone is gently pinching my upper ear between their fingers. Fairy godmother is telling you to stop being naughty. Whenever I need to pee and then finish peeing, I always have to go back a minute later because I can still physically feel more pressure in my bladder. I then pee out just several drops, which feels scalding hot compared to normal pee. I had this for a year or so. I got all the tests, everything was normal. I went to a pelvic floor physical therapist, and she fixed it. We figured out that I was, subconsciously, clenching abdominal muscles during the day, which fatigued all the muscles down there, including my urethra. Whenever we pee, our body always keeps a tiny bit of urine in the bladder. But because my urethra was fatigued, after I would pee, it couldn't close up well enough, meaning that the tiny bit of normal urine left behind in the bladder would drop into my urethra, making me have to go back to the toilet to pee out several overly hot drops. Anyway, you might have the exact same problem, the solution to which is simply to try and conscientiously relax your abdominal muscles during the day so they don't get fatigued. Regardless, if that doesn't work, something else structurally might be going on and a pelvic floor physical therapist can help. Doesn't matter what version of genitalia you have, they can help ya. When I do lateral raises at the gym, my left cheek, face, twitches on the up and causes my upper lip to raise slightly on the same side. When I think about something that makes me feel grossed out, my mouth begins to taste like blood. So if anyone knows what's up with that, LMK. Tastes like blood. If you mean a metallic taste, that can be anxiety. Sometimes I smell cigarette smoke even when I know I'm in a place where no one is smoking. So weird. Sometimes my right ear, primarily, just goes deaf with a high-pitched sound. It lasts less than 30 seconds and my hearing is normal again. I kept a record of the frequency that it happened and shared it with an ENT. He didn't seem concerned and saw nothing wrong with my ears or hearing. Additionally, my left ear sometimes has painful fluid buildup and I have to click my jaw to release the pressure. Weirdly, by doing this, I seem to have resolved the weird deafening ring described above. Lastly, my tinnitus is constant and varies in degree. Occasionally I get these loud clicks that sound like an insect clicking in my ear. My ears are fun. Also, I choke on liquids a lot. Like daily. My friend jokes that my tubes are all messed up, but she might have a point. If my head is tilted back just a little bit, I'll choke when drinking. Not sure if I'm inhaling at the wrong time or what. Just this morning I choked on my own saliva like I have many times before. If I gently rub the skin from the right corner of my lips down to my jaw, my hearing on that side goes fuzzy if not completely gone. Just for the duration I'm touching that spot on my face. Weird. 2 more minor things. I suddenly grew one really long eyelash, about 1.5 inches, seemingly overnight, and lately whenever I eat candy or anything super sweet, my nose gets really runny. My entire body hurts to the point where I can't be touched, but only when I have my menstruation. All my muscles, my joints, even my skin. I have 2 extra holes on my ears, and if I squeeze them nothing really visibly comes out, just a stinky smell, sometimes a clear substance like water or sometimes a little white dot, but it's not a pimple, it's just a hole on my ear. Hey, I also have preauricular sinuses. I've got one on either side, and the lady that does my hair has just one side. I never tell anyone about the liquid though because I figure it's more information than anyone needs to know. Mine is that my ears get wet when I cry, like to the point where I can feel it trickling out of my ears and I have to use a tip. When I see someone being in pain because of a big injury, my anus hurts. This happens to me but in the vag, lol. Every time someone gets hurt or I even hear about it, ESP if it's like my kids I feel like I have a mini contraction, lol. Sleep karate. I woke up with bruises even though I'm sleeping alone. What's the weird thing going on with your body that isn't weird enough? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.